since these three are given by the sum, let me color them by blue. So these are the three data that I know I have. So these are what's given to me. Now, as I mentioned before, I wanted to show you that these circles are far apart. So that is not part of the sum. You need not include this in your answer, but that is something what I did to show that these circles are not touching each other. So I have joined the two centers of the circle by a line segment BA. P is a point on the circle and Q is a point on the other circle, and they P, Q, O, they are all points that lie on the straight line BA. So had they been touching, P and Q would have coincided with each other and PQ would have been a single point. But you see here, PQ I have found out to be 6 centimeter. Why? Because PQ is essentially BA minus QA minus BP. So if I take this entire length and then I remove this portion and this portion, what I'm left with is PQ. So that is what I've done. I have taken the entire line segment AB. So this represents A, B. This 6 unit, this represents AQ. So from AB, I have removed the portion AQ, and this 3 centimeter represents BP. So from AB, I have removed AQ and I have removed BP. So that is what I'm left with, this PQ segment. So I can say that PQ is AB minus AQ minus BP, and I have exchanged, or I have replaced the length of those line segments. So that's 15, 15 minus 6 minus 3. So that gives me 6 centimeters. So you see PQ does not coincide. PQ is a specific line segment of length 6 centimeter. So that is another interesting observation that we have for this sum. But you need not include it in your sum. Now let's move on to the original sum. So what we have is, let's look at the diagram once. So Bx, I have defined xy as one tangent, as one transverse common tangent that I need in fact for this sum. So xy is the tangent that I have considered. Now let's, by definition, Bx should be perpendicular to xy, because that is the definition of a tangent. So Bx being one of the radii of the circle with center B, Bx should be perpendicular to its tangent, since xy is a tangent. Xy is the common tangent of these two circles. That implies that xy is a tangent to this circle and xy is a tangent to this circle. It's a common tangent. So it's a tangent to both of these circles. So Bx being one of the radii of this circle, it should be perpendicular to this xy line segment. Again, Ay is the radii of this circle. So since xy is also a tangent to this circle, xy should also be perpendicular to this radii Ay. In fact, Ay is the radii that I have considered based on this common tangent. So these two should be perpendicular to each other. Now, another thing, so we see that this is a perpendicular and this is another perpendicular case. So automatically you can realize Bx and Ay are parallel to each other because they are both perpendicular to the same line segment. So doesn't that essentially mean that Bx and Ay are parallel to each other? So that is what I've written here. Bx is parallel to Ay. This symbol means, oh yeah, this symbol means that they are perpendicular to each other. So when I say one line segment, then I use this symbol, and I write another line segment, then I mean these two line segments are perpendicular to each other. This is the symbol, because you see that's the symbol that they make. One line is perpendicular to this. So that is the symbol for perpendicular. And that's what I've used here again. So this is also the symbol for perpendicular, and this is the symbol for parallel. So when we talk about two parallel lines, they are essentially, that is the symbol of two parallel lines. That is how parallel lines are. So that is what I've written here. Bx and Ay are two parallel lines, and if I consider Bx and Ay to be two parallel lines, then xy can be considered to be the transverse for these two parallel lines. So now what I'll be doing is I will take BX and AY to be two parallel lines, and I can take XY as the parallel transverse for these two parallel lines, or I can take BY as the transverse for these two parallel lines. So because the parallel lines remain the same, so whichever line crosses these two parallel lines acts as a transverse. So now what I take is I take these two angles. So I take XBO and I take OAY. So I take this angle and I take this angle. Now from your knowledge from parallel lines, of course you know that. So from your previous knowledge, you might be knowing that XBO and OAY are called interior alternate angles, and they are always equal. So we can say that XBO equals OAY, and you already know that for triangle XBO and for triangle OAY, we already know that angle BXO equals angle OAY equals 90 degrees. So that's one of the angles of the two triangles are equal, and I already proved that XBO and OAY are equal. So we have two angles of these two triangles which are equal to each other, and we already know that the sum of three angles of a triangle are 180 degrees. So if the two of the angles are equal, then the third angle, sorry, automatically becomes equal. In fact, these are vertically opposite angles, so it doesn't even make sense. You can prove either these two angles are equal, or you can prove these. Let me just mark. So you can also mark these two angles are equal, whichever suits you, and you can just stop. So just proving that one angle is equal will suffice, because you've already proved the other to be 90 degree. So you can say that triangle BXO and triangle AYO are equiangular. So these two triangles are equiangular triangles, that is, they have equal angles and they are essentially similar triangles. So for similar triangles, you know that we can use the equality of the proportion of the sides. So what I have done is I have taken these two triangles and I've equated the proportion or ratio between XB and BO, and I have equated that to the ratio between AY and AO. So how do I note which goes with which? So this ratio is a very confusing, let's say, a confusing way to put. So that's how you do it. Let's just first fix this. So you can choose whatever you want for this, XB by BO. This is what I want. I need to find out which ratio I can equate with XB by BO. So let's take XB first. So XB is the line segment that is adjacent to the right angle and the angle that I've proved to be equal. So if my numerator is XB on this side, then on the other side of my equality, the side needs to be the corresponding one. So it needs to be the side that is adjacent to a right angle and the angle that I've proved to be equal. So for this triangle, that would be this side, AY, because that is adjacent to the right angle and the angle that I proved to be equal. So XB will correspond to AY. So you see, if XB is on my numerator on this side of my equality sign, then AY will be on the numerator on this side of the equality sign. Similarly, BO is the one which is opposite to the right angle. So that's the hypotenuse. Then I have taken AO as the hypotenuse of this side of the triangle. And that is how I get the proportion. Next part is simple. What I do is I already know the length. So I put XB equals 3. I keep BO unknown, since that's something that I don't know. And I replace AY with 6 centimeter. And instead of AO writing as AO, I know AB is 15 centimeter and AO is automatically 15 minus BO. So that's what I've replaced. This then becomes a simple equation with BO, and you can solve BO as 5 centimeter. Next, what I do is, gosh, Next, what I do is I take this triangle. I take BX square. I already know this is a right angle triangle, so I can use the Pythagoras theorem. I say BX square plus XO. Yeah. BX square plus XO square equal BO square. So that's the Pythagorean theorem. And I replace BX with 9. I keep XO unknown, and instead of BO, I replace it with phi square. So this one again becomes an equation with XO, and solving that I get XO equal to 4 centimeter. So I get XO equals 4 centimeter. And since I already know BO, I can also find AO, because that's 15 minus 5. So the equation that I wrote here, yeah, I had replaced AO with 15 minus BO. So if BO is 15, then AO will be 15 minus BO, that will be 10. So using that again, I can use the Pythagorean theorem for this triangle, and I come out and I get OY to be 8 centimeter. So I use again Pythagorean theorem. I go by the same procedure. I replace the value of AY with 6 units, and I replace AO with 15 by minus BO. So that's 15 minus 5. So that's 10 square minus 36. Root over of 100 minus 36. That's root over of 64, which is 8 centimeter. So I already have XO, which is 4 centimeter, and I have OY, which is 8 centimeter. So I can get the length of the entire transverse common tangent XY, which is addition of XO and OY. So the transverse common tangent length is XO plus OY, which is 12 centimeter.